Imagine an elite operative who successfully infiltrates an enemy stronghold, neutralizes the target, and walks away from an explosion without a scratch, only to lose their life on the way home because they trusted the wrong person at a coffee shop. That is exactly what happens to the protagonist in one of the strangest historical accounts in the ancient texts. He is simply known as the Man of God, an operative sent from the southern kingdom of Judah on a strict, highly dangerous mission to the north. To understand the danger, we have to look at the political landscape. King Jeroboam had recently taken control of the northern kingdom. To keep his citizens from traveling back to the rightful historical capital in Jerusalem, he completely restructured the nation's religion. He set up alternative, highly convenient worship centers in places like Bethel. He changed the feast days, appointed his own priests, and essentially built a state-controlled religion designed to secure his grip on the throne. When the man of God steps into Bethel, he is walking into hostile territory. The king controls the laws, the military, and the religious narrative. Our operative walks straight up to this newly built, state-sanctioned altar, while King Jeroboam himself is standing there, and he publicly condemns the entire operation. The response is immediate. The king points at the prophet to order his arrest, but his arm instantly paralyzes. Right beside them, the massive stone altar physically shatters, spilling ashes onto the ground. Facing a power he can't control, the king instantly pivots tactics. He drops the threats and offers a bribe. He invites the man of God to the royal palace for a meal and promises him a substantial financial reward. The prophet doesn't hesitate. He states that he has strict pre-existing orders from God. He is not to eat bread or drink water in this place, and he must return by a different route. He rejects the money, turns his back on the king, and walks away. He survived the primary mission. He faced down the highest political authority in the land, rejected a massive bribe, and held his boundary through strict obedience to his instructions. Now the operative is on his way home. This is the after-action phase. The adrenaline is fading, he is physically exhausted, and having just defeated the obvious enemy, his guard is naturally lowering. And that is exactly when a new variable appears. An older man, described as an old prophet, who lives right there in Bethel, tracks him down on the road. The old prophet extends the exact same invitation the king just did. Come back to my house and eat. And initially, the man of God holds his ground, repeating his strict orders that he cannot eat or drink in Bethel. This diagram illustrates the tactic that happens next. The old prophet doesn't use threats or money. Instead, he claims to have a new revelation. He tells the man of God that an angel spoke to him, explicitly overriding those original orders. The attack vector has shifted. He uses the guise of updated divine instructions to sneak past the hero's logical defenses. Psychologists call this authority bias, the tendency to assume a message is accurate simply because of the credentials of the person delivering it. The man of God had clear, direct instructions, but he looks at the old prophet, sees a veteran in the same field, respects his seniority, and assumes that this older, seemingly wiser mentor must be telling the truth. He makes his fatal error. He drops his boundary, turns his horse around, and goes back to Bethel to eat with a man who is actively lying to him. While they are sitting right there at the dinner table, the atmosphere shifts. A genuine message suddenly comes through the old prophet, but this time it is a harsh condemnation of the man of God for disobeying his original, foundational instructions. The realization sets in too late. The man of God leaves the town, and on his journey back to Judah, he is attacked and killed by a lion on the road. The operative who stared down a corrupt king was ultimately destroyed because he assumed a mentor's title was a guarantee of truth. The aftermath of this event is deeply unsettling. The old prophet hears about the lion attack, travels out to the road, and retrieves the body of the man he just deceived. Seeing the exact fulfillment of the warning, the old prophet suddenly becomes a true believer. He realizes that the man of God's original prophecies against the altars of Bethel are absolutely going to happen. He buries the man of God in his own tomb and gives a strict order to his sons. When he dies, they must lay his bones right next to the man of God's bones, so that when judgment finally comes to the altar, his remains will be spared. The manipulator survives and secures a safe burial for himself, while the faithful operative, who briefly lowered his guard, pays with his life. This historical account is recorded as a precise diagnostic warning for anyone navigating environments filled with conflicting information today. The lesson is that the validity of a message can never be judged by the rank, the title, or the seniority of the messenger. It has to be tested against established foundational truth. The most lethal deceptions rarely come from obvious external enemies. They usually come from highly credentialed, respected individuals sitting comfortably inside our own trusted circles. If a teaching contradicts foundational instructions, it has to be rejected. And that rule applies regardless of whether the person speaking is a local mentor, an elite theologian, or even a pope. The titles people hold might demand our respect, but to survive, our ultimate loyalty must always remain with the truth itself.